ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Dynamic Lifestyle Podcast. We have our awesome guest, the one and only Alberto Nunez. Alberto, ¿cómo estás, man?
Good. You said the Enya, dude. That
Ah,
hardly happens. I've just
no, man.
It's the inner Latino.
I got to work on my Spanish too. I don't practice it consistently.
I've learned to accept it, but yeah, moms would be mad if she heard you not say the Enya. So
Right.
yeah, no, I'm glad to be here, guys. Glad to be
Gotcha,
here.
man. So how you doing today?
Good. So morning's been fairly productive. I don't even know what day of the week it is. It's Wednesday, right?
Yes. No,
Right?
it's Thursday.
Oh,
It's
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Shit,
So
look.
it kind of goes to show you it's been one of those weeks. So it's just like I just know dates and places that I need to be at, and then other than that, it's just like go, go, go. But yeah, it's been good. It's been good as long as I get my training in. It's like throw whatever you want at me. Like
Right.
just give me a few meals, some training, and after that, I can just like conquer the world.
There you go, man. Cool. So, man, we like to start off our podcast with all of our guests, just pretty much just kind of finding out what your story is and who you are. So, if you can share that with us, that'd be great.
Okay. So actually, I was talking to my friends yesterday about how I got Ben Escrow. I was talking to Ben about what like started like just fitness. So I came from I was definitely a bit on the poor side of things growing up. And I remember like it was to the point where, you know, especially when you're a teenager, like what you look like definitely like matters a lot to you.
Right.
And I recall that like maybe I had like 3 different outfits, like pairs of clothes, like growing up. And I remember I got myself into an academic high school so that I could wear the uniform, so I would not have to like worry about what I wear. Like to all the other kids, it was like, you know, it was you know, it's time to floss Monday through Friday. To me, it's like fuck, I can't hang with that. Like,
Gotcha.
and that's kind of how I found resistance training. Is like, well, if I can't, you know, like afford all the nice clothes, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna look like really good without clothes. And initially, it just kind of it started with that. That was the main driver, but literally about a week into it, I used to not understand. I just knew that it was like a look that was like highly touted and respected. I didn't necessarily ever want muscles or thought muscles were appealing. So it was just kind of like to please my peers. And like a week into it, I'm like, man, this is like so for me. Like I played a lot of other sports, but I used to hate practicing them. I would like to show up and compete because I was a really competitive dude. But in regards to like building up to excellence, I hated that process. But with like resistance training, it's like, hey, if you want to get to that like big plate on the bench press, you're gonna have to go through your 25s or 35s. Like seeing that constant progress, and it was so transparent. It's like your weight is moving. You're like, I'm actually like doing this. Like it got me hooked, and it's been my thing since I was 16. And like here I am. I think I'm 33. I forget now.
You don't look
33 years old. 33, dude. So it's the one thing that's like the one love of my life that's like stuck around like forever. And it's just I'm a be like dive bombing squats until I'm 70 if I can.
That's
So,
awesome, man.
Awesome, man.
All
Love it.
right, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. So we know that you're a very successful coach within 3DMJ. So you know, what are 3 things that just really just kind of you would say that are your favorite things about coaching?
I like it's kind of goes with the theme here, but it's we always know what best practice is. But unfortunately, that does not apply to everyone. So you kind of know where that sits at, and then you have to be dynamic, like making those calls, being creative with it. Like every single athlete, it's not an assembly line by any means. Everyone's situation's a little different, and it's always changing people's situations. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess we got a bum knee. We can't do this. We're going to figure something out. So being adaptive, I like that. So it's like, yes, we're trying to get the majority of our athletes to the same place, but what it takes to get them there is the process. It's a lot of fun. So I like that. I like that, and that's what I do basically almost every day. I like contributing and the idea of like leaving my mark. And since the fitness industry has changed a lot the last few years, we're like in a unique place where we can contribute to the changing face of the fitness industry. So I like contributing, and I'd say that the final one is probably just people. I think when you look back at your life, that's probably more than anything else what shaped your experience the most. And I can go back and like I can like pick athletes, like from like 7, 8 years ago, and what made them unique, and why I still recall them to this day so vividly. And how they shaped me as a coach. So yeah, those are the three things.
Yeah, I like that, man. I really like number one too, what you said about being dynamic within coaching, because if you look back at it, if you've worked with hundreds of thousands of clients, and like, if you're an up and coming coach, this is really a good learning point right here, is that you can't sit there and just make a one size fits all type of approach, cookie cutter type of thing, or you can't take a study and take its conclusion and be like, you know what, I can apply this in real world practice, because that's just like a mean and average. It doesn't really apply, to outliers and individuals. So that was a really good point you made, man. Good lesson right there.
Thank you. Yeah. No one, just about everyone you get is not going to be like, I guess, optimal. So to give them the optimal plan, it don't work that way.
Yeah, it doesn't work out.
All right, so we'll stay on the same topic within coaching. So obviously, as a coach, you have to kind of see your clients just go through adversity, get curveballs thrown their way, lose motivation. So as a coach, what is your kind of go-to tools, to tell your clients to just, overcome this adversity or just get over that hurdle?
I think that's where a lot of the joy in this comes from. Like, for example, anyone who's done a contest prep diet, especially your first few goes at it, you're like, I can't wait to make it to that stage and be up there and look a certain way. But when you look back, I think what makes you want to come back for more is not those 10 minutes on stage, but how you figured things out along the way. You were able to do things you had no idea you could. So the reward in that, and the personal growth that you get from something not going according to plan, and you somehow getting by that, I think that is, you do that enough times in your life, it gets to the point where something happens and you're just like, you just know you're going to figure this out. And that's a great feeling,
Yeah, I agree, man. Yeah,
cool. All right, so we're going to switch gears here on the questions. So Eric and I, we're big proponents on kind of, getting your day started, get your mind right within the first 60 to 120 minutes of the day. So what does your first 60 to 120 minutes of your day look like? And then maybe you can just kind of, after that, just tell us what a perfect day looks like in your life, and what's your wind down routine?
Okay. So here's, and people who Skype with me are going to just freaking laugh at this. But so literally, I wake up 15 minutes before my Skype. That I have to and it can be someone that I have never met before. So I'll wake up, I'll take the dogs out, let them use the bathroom, and then I'm right here, and 15 minutes into waking up, there's a intimate interaction with someone, and I usually start the day with 2 of those, so 2 Skypes before I do any of my weekly client work. And again, sometimes these people, I have no idea what I'm getting on the other end. I have their application and the information on the surface, but it's here you go. Here's this person who's going to consult with you for an hour. You've literally been up for 15 minutes. I set my alarm for at 8:45, and then I start my first Skype at 9. Nice. But to me, it's just a reminder that all the people that I'm going to be interacting with, they're people. I don't have a huge roster in terms of clients. And I like it that way because there's more of a coach-athlete relationship instead of just a coach-spreadsheet relationship. Right. So that kind of sets the tone for that, and that you're dealing with people, dude. You need to remember that, and that completely changes my trajectory for the day. So I do my Skypes first thing in the morning. I have breakfast with Leanna. We have breakfast together, and that's a big thing. And we usually talk about everything we're going to do that day, whether we need to do it to be adults, this needs to be mailed out, stuff like that, or just abstract, just random entrepreneur creative thoughts. Yeah. And then after that, I will look in my inbox and give myself a place where I want to make it up to, and I will not let myself work past that, because you can be there all day and then emails will just keep coming. Oh, yeah. I stop it there, and then the rest of the day is basically just creative time. So,
gotcha, man. And so what does a wind down routine look like? What time you train, all that stuff?
That's my wind down. So it's it's training. It's training. We usually train around anywhere between 3 and 5. So we'll leave the house. And And yeah, it's crazy. So what I'm basically doing all day, it's kind of like I go do more of it, but in a different way, and that's my wind down. But to me, that's basically all I need. I'm so simple in that way. If I have a training slot that's like secure, it's like the rest of the day I will like grind myself.
Yeah.
Um, However, one thing I do is I do go out on walks every like 3 hours of work.
Okay.
I would just kind of walk around the house, around the neighborhood, and weather permitting, and just kind of like, things just come to you, you know, when you're.
Yeah, it's therapeutical, man.
It is. It is. So that's probably my wind down, but like my everyday wind down is definitely like my training afterwards. And if you give me like training, like whenever we go do a seminar somewhere, that's the one thing I ask. It's like, so I get right. And if they're like, yeah, we got this gym set up for you guys, it's like, okay, after that, whatever. Just whatever you need me to do, I'll do.
There you go. Yeah, just quick side note, man. How is the walking kind of like holding up as far as like, you know, hip health and stuff like that? Because I feel it helps out.
It does. It definitely does. I think not just the walking, but like I'll find an excuse to just like get up and run to the kitchen, go fold some clothes. Just if you have a desk job, you know how that is. It's like the first year you get away with it, and you're like, what are these people talking about?
Right.
But then eventually you learn that, okay, it's a big lower body sesh today. I think I'll kind of go back and forth, and you see it pay off. And that's one thing walking has done, is not only that, but, you know, again, like stress is stress, whether it comes from your training, whether it comes from your personal life, your career. So like just giving myself a moment every day to like just vanish for a second, in a actually not indirect, in a pretty direct way, has actually helped me with like my recovery in the gym, because there's only so much you can take.
Right. I like that.
Right on. Okay, so let's kind of shift gears here. So we know that life always throws challenges, adversity, distractions, all those type of things. So what are you currently facing right now, such as, you know, a challenge, or whether maybe it could be even a distraction in life, and how are you dealing with it?
Ooh. So I'd say that I'll go coach and I'll go athlete. I think firstly, as a coach, probably one of the biggest changes right now is that 3D Muscle Journey as a company, we're kind of remolding a few things.
Right.
And it's one of those things where I'm very comfortable with how we were doing things, but at the same time, it's kind of like when I talk to the local bodybuilding guru in town, and I'm like, hey, I kind of do the same thing, and he's like, so hey, where are your athletes with the jumpsuits, and why aren't you guys like here to get? And it's like you're a little behind, bro, right? And it's kind of the same thing now, where like I'm like, you know, our formula was working. Why are we, doing this, doing that? But it's like that's how you keep up with the times in a way, and forget keeping up. Like you want to be ahead, and you want to kind of be one of those people who like, who lead the way. So that's been probably the biggest stressor right now as a coach, is the fact that we're doing a lot of other things outside of just coaching now.
Gotcha.
And then as an athlete, I would say just the fact that I think when I tell people, man, I've been training since 1999, like they're like, wow, that's pretty cool. No wonder, wonder. And it's like, yeah, but the issue is I've been training since like 1999, and there's hardly ever a week where like everything's just 100% like perfect in terms of like how things feel.
Right.
So I'm like always working around something, and I think if I could go back and like just talk to the 20-something-year-old version of myself, I'd be like, dude, like why'd you do this to me? So staying healthy it's one of those things where it's a tug of war, because I mean I still have, like, technically somehow I'm like the equivalent of a 20-year-old running back, like going into the NFL. It's like you are just kind of barely about to hit your full stride. Like 10 years from now you'll be really good, and it's like, well, if I want to make it 10 years, it's like I need to keep myself healthy, but at the same time, it's like, but I want to work really hard and like guarantee that. So it's like you want to try hard, but at the same time, like there's no such thing as a set that's going to make you. But I know from experience, like one set, one rep can break you,
Right.
and it's a tug of war between being responsible and like ambitious, right?
Hell yeah, yeah.
I like that, man. How you
Spot
did
on.
both like the coach and the athlete aspect. So yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so a little deeper question here. So you have a beautiful home. You live in Colorado. You have dogs. You are a big influencer in the fitness industry. You get to train every single day. You're part of 3DMJ. You're an online coach. What are you missing right now in your life?
A world title. That's probably it. If I do end up competing next year, I've talked to a few close friends, and I brought up the fact that like I really like I think this is the year that I have to take it to the house. Like there's just no excuse. So I think as an athlete, I think it's been a while since I've been an athlete. I haven't competed in anything since July of 2014. Like not a bodybuilding show, not a powerlifting meet since July of 2014. So I'm kind of due for that. Like I'm ready to put that cap back on. So I think more than anything is that I want to be very successful at that really high level, and I look forward to just doing that next year.
Okay.
It's I'm still going to be a coach, of course, but I can't wait to just be that athlete with that deadline.
Yeah. And you starting this journey 2017?
Yeah, I think the diet will start somewhere around May or June, and then we're aiming for fall shows, maybe a few like NPC shows like locally, like that summer.
Some warm-up
But
shows.
yeah, just to kind of not make like my first show like this huge show, and
right.
but no, I'm missing that deadline. I think, yeah, it's been too long.
Gotcha. Hey, it's crazy when you put it like that because yeah, I mean just how the time flies. You know, you don't realize it, but yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So another kind of thing to shift towards, you know, Chris and I are huge on having mentors. So my question is, who was your mentors growing up, and who are your mentors right now currently?
So growing up as a mentor, I would say that it was definitely my mother in many ways. I think yeah, she sacrificed, and it was not necessarily like she'd sit me down and she'd tell me, this is how it is, but just by her actions,
Right.
essentially. So growing up, it was her, and I'm glad that she can kind of look now and be like, okay, well, it paid off, like we did it, and at least that one's okay. Out of my 3 kids, we're all actually doing okay, but that's mostly because as a mom. So growing up, it was her, and I think nowadays I kind of outsource that to many different people, and it kind of depends on what the subject is. So all the 3D Muscle Journey guys, like we all have intimate conversations that are a little different. Like okay, this one's good for that, this one's good for that. I think the last one that I had was with Andrea, and it's kind of a no one's like above anyone. It's like we both kind of rely on each other from time to time. So yeah, I would say that my coaching group and they are definitely the people I go to when I am kind of scattered, confused, and just when I need someone to be objective for me.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that how you mentioned your mom growing up. So you would say that, you saw her actions, and obviously her work ethic just rubbed off on you as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when I think about she kind of like almost forfeited a generation so that we could do something, and like it's like, dude, you can't let that go to waste. You better do something.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
That's huge, man. That's awesome.
Okay, so let's travel back 10 years. What are 3 mistakes you made? Things where you were just like, fuck, why did I do this shit? But you learn from it, and in turn, they turn into blessings in disguise.
So 10 years ago would be, wow. That's a very valuable chunk. So what I did initially, I was just coming off like it was this major like bulk that I went on. I had bulked up to, it was a PM weight at the gym with like however many meals I was having. It was like 250 with like clothes and everything. and I was probably closer to like 230 morning weight. But anyways, that's like very heavy for me. And how I got there, I think with the whole like who's natural, who isn't like controversy, I didn't see it that way. Like I just the other young men about my age, they were gaining all this clean like big weight. I had no idea, and a lot of them were like my training partners on certain days.
Yeah.
So like if my boy Gerald, like he's at 220, he's like, well, dude, I'm competitive too. I'm gonna get up to 220, and it was one of those things where then finally I got up to there and I dropped all the weight to get back down to reasonable looking. I'm like, wow, that was a waste of time. However, besides the fact that like I overshot my gaining potential by a long shot, I did spend because of that 4 years gaining. So at that point, I recall that I looked at my physique and I'm like, okay, so that was kind of miscalculated, but I think you can compete now. So the following year after that, I did my first contest prep. That was in 2007, and it's hilarious because I think I would have done way better if I would have gone on a Weight Watchers program than whatever I was doing. I probably would have looked decent.
Yeah.
But that was not the case. It was it was a diet that just it lacked everything from structure to science, and I ended up going from, first of all, too heavy of a start weight. I was like 205, 200, all the way down to about what I weigh right now. And it took me about 6 months, and it was just not a good time. So what I ended up doing the very next year is I actually, right after that season, I'm like, Lane, I'm going to work with you, and I'm going to have someone just take over the nutritional side of things, because the way I did it was quite hilarious. It just kind of shows you my personality. Like, I love to train, but the eating was not necessarily one of my strong points. So to me, contest prepping is like I would take a big Tupperware of chicken with like peanut butter and spinach, and I would just like eat it. There was stray dogs at the job that I worked at, and I'd share my food with them, and that's how we prepped, So it was very like just chill. And I'm like, no, I need more structure. What I do with my training, I need to do that with my nutrition.
Yeah.
I didn't have the skill at the time, so I outsourced that. So that was a big thing, to outsource. When you're young, you swear you know everything.
Oh
Yeah. The ego's always there, man. So yeah.
Especially young men, and I know that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny. Okay, so what are your 3 non-negotiables each day? So I know you already mentioned, man, like it's pretty obvious, like you have to train every day. So give me like 3 other non-negotiables that each day you have to do.
I think every day I need alone time.
Okay.
That is like a must.
So how much time?
If I get 20 minutes, I'll be good.
Okay.
I do quite a bit with my alone time, so it can be just a walk and just alone time. And I'd say that I need to talk to someone who I love every single day.
Okay.
So if I have my training, my alone time, and then the exact opposite, like, hey mom, hey brother, I think if I do that every day, like, comic can hit me right now and I'd be like, okay, it was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. What is the greatest talent or gift that you haven't discovered yet, but you know that it's about to break through or come out?
I saw that in the questions, and I'm like, wow, that is deep.
It's pretty deep.
It is.
It's
It
Eric,
is.
man. He's reading all these deep books, trying to find himself,
That's a good one, because I think if you talk to the majority of people and you ask them, like, so do you think you've lived up to your full potential up until this point? Like, most people be like, no, actually I haven't, and they all have that one thing in the back of their mind that they're like, I can do, and I feel like I can contribute to the world, but I haven't just yet. And I think that is probably the one thing that I think I'll be really good at someday, not just yet. And that's because I am not done kind of with my personal development, but it comes down to helping people. And one thing that at some point when everything is right and I'm able to put this together and everything's in place, just kind of how weight training saved me at some point. I would love to use weight training to just do that with, take a squat rack and a bench press to like underprivileged communities, and like take these young men off the streets and like teach them to, you know, to set goals, to get stuff done, and to believe in the fact that if I create a plan and I'm patient and I'm just tenacious with it, that I can get there. So like long term, that's one thing that I do want to contribute. It's going to be a massive project, and I think a few other things kind of have to be at peace. But I think that's probably the one thing I do have like surely left to contribute that I haven't even started yet. But when it does happen, it's going to be like freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to get into what we call rapid dynamic questions. So the first one is, what do you currently do in self-development wise?
I like to go hike.
Okay.
To the point that it's kind of like a mini prep. And actually, I do some of these hikes that I will tell you they're way harder than any contest prep I've done.
I remember you too.
Some Yosemite ones, right?
Yeah. Remember, I've taken Eric Helms. I took Ryan Doris on that hike, and you don't even ask him that. But like at a certain point, because a lot of bodybuilders, they use prep as a reference for like a hard grind. Like this is measure things. They're both like, this is the hardest thing I've done. This is harder than prep. Afterwards, they always say like, no, it wasn't. But it's like, dude, you were like ready to jump off the side, you know. So I like that part because I like the hiking. To me, it's vital because it kind of it gets that person in my head that tells you to quit, that tells you to stop. I like to like hear that person and cancel that out. And again, just kind of when you're suffering, when things aren't good, like you get so creative. Yeah. You get so creative in the things that just like fly. Like, you know, again, like when you're prepping, right? Like it's funny how adaptive the brain is, because of course if you're starving, you're going to get smarter so you don't starve. So it kind of makes sense from an evolutionary perspective, because I'm sure you guys can relate. Last time you guys prepped, maybe it was hard to get out of the couch, but the stuff you guys would think of, it's like, we're doing this, you know? So yeah, I need to have those mini preps, and I think that's what helps me more than anything.
Gotcha, I like that. So it seems like kind of like, you know, when you're doing that that hiking, you kind of just even possibly discover little things about yourself too. Because for me, I mean, I personally, I love traveling, man, and it's like, you know, I discover so much different things. You know, once I go travel, my ability to like open my mind just expands like crazy. So I mean,
yeah. So yeah, it's kind of being out of your element, not being comfortable. That's where
absolutely. Okay.
That's where it happens.
Cool. All right, next pregunta. All right, if you could have dinner with one person, dead or alive, who would this person be?
And it can't be J-Lo.
Oh yeah, she. Man, that would have been a good one.
That'd be a nice dinner. Some dessert.
Let's see. Dead or alive? See, it's funny because like there's a lot of interesting people who are alive, but you always kind of go back to, I guess. Yeah, I think I would love to.
Yeah, let's pick one alive, one dead.
Well, this is my dead one. I don't know if I can think of someone alive yet, but the dead one would be. I had this thought that like this was like actually in the midst of a really crazy hike. Like I went back to like Paleolithic times in my brain, and I was like, you know, like you probably had a lot of ancestors that were like this close to death. Like if you look at your whole lineage, you know, like there was probably one dude at some point that was like hanging from a rock, and like he pulled himself up, and because of that you're here. So like do something for this person and like finish this hike and like quit complaining. So I think I would like to pick a really interesting like ancestor that I don't know of. Okay. Like, you know, maybe, you know, he was on a certain boat on his way over here. He was the best hunter in his tribe. I don't know, but I think I would love to just reconnect with some random person from my past, even though language might be a barrier. I don't know, we'd have a translator in this hypothetical world. But so I think where you come from is very important, and I think we should never forget that. So, I think it would definitely be just someone that I don't know about that kind of fortifies my idea about myself. Like it's like, yeah, dude, we got this.
Gotcha, right on. Okay, so what are you currently doing training and nutrition wise?
We're trying to get more muscular, which at this point it's not much happens We have to wait until we're like nearly there to like squint our eyes and like, dude, I think that's new. Um, so right now we're in the middle of an off season that started, yeah, July 2014. It's now August 2016, um, and um, and it's been pretty productive. I think one thing that I've kind of I did last off season that was just kind of like my go-to. I think as soon as I switched my training frequency, I'd been doing about twice a week for the longest time, and then I switched to 3 times per week. That just completely changed. Like it was almost like the first time that I doubled my frequency from once to twice. I was like, oh my God, this is magic. Where have you been?
Yeah.
And of late, what I've done is I've kind of done the same thing where we're going to be rotating the next few weeks. It's all full body, but we're going to train everything, and I mean everything. Every training session, everything gets hit 4 to 5 times per week. Of course, like today I have a 4x6 on the bench, and that's basically all the chest movement I'll do. That's it. And it's usually supersetted with something else. But so that's been the one thing I'm kind of banking on. In regards to eating, that's one of the best parts about the off season is that it's, especially once you've tracked long enough, you're always kind of tracking. Like I can tell you that up until this point, it's 139 here, and I'd banked it like my food's like I'm at 20 fat, 220 carbs, and maybe 60 or 70 protein. So like nutrition is pretty chill. Just don't get fat, but don't lose weight.
Yeah.
And then magically over time, because you're so near that maintenance threshold, you find yourself 6 months later 2-3 pounds heavier, which in my case is about all I need to gain.
Gotcha. Cool, man. All right. So, what do you like to do for fun?
Ooh,
Come back on us.
for fun, I love, of course, I love the outdoors. I love to travel. I love trying new restaurants, and I absolutely love beer. Like beers, like yeah. So
IPA?
I think, oh, and that's what we have a lot of. We have a lot of great IPAs out here.
Yeah.
So if there ever is a state outside of California that like, that was one of the hardest parts about leaving California was like the beer is so like good out there.
Yeah.
You guys were in Santa Rosa, right?
Yeah, we were out
So
there, yeah.
so
Russian River?
Russian River was there, yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's like tourists from Japan there with cameras like waiting, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, man, the beer here, who knows if it'll be any good, but it's been fantastic. So beer and friends, when it's like pure chillax time,
Yeah.
beer and friends.
That's funny though, man. You brought up the Russian River. We were actually back home, like we told you earlier. We drove by there because we were going to go grab a beer out there, and the line was just like literally wrapped around the whole like entire place. We're like, you know what, this is ridiculous. Like we're out. So it's that good though. So if you guys are in Santa Rosa, California, check it out. Russian River Brewery.
On Sundays, happy hours, like fantastic
Oh
there.
man, that's why it was packed. It was a Sunday.
It was. Yeah.
Okay.
So what are you most grateful for today?
Man, and this is kind of a perspective that, you know, I hate that it necessarily came from that recently, but I do seminars out in the Dominican Republic about once a year, and you know, obviously it's a poor country, and it kind of made me think of like where I came from, and you know, like had my mom not made that jump, you know, and I'm not saying she didn't jump, she came here on a worker's visa, guys, but like I look at those kids and I'm like, man, there's a kid here with like all this like potential, but he's just trying to survive, you know, and who knows what could have been. So I'm just grateful that I have the opportunities to do something with myself. It's never easy. It's never easy for anyone, but like it's like they say, if it had a gun to your head, you know, would you be able to get this done? And usually the answer is like, yeah. It's just we forget how privileged we are.
Exactly. Yeah, I like that, man. That was good. All right, so we're writing a new book right now. It's called The New Era of Fitness. So, I mean, you've had plenty of experience, man. But let's just say this past decade, do you think we're in a new era of fitness these days?
Yeah, definitely. It's heading in the right direction. I think how quickly it's heading in that direction, from my perspective, it seems like a little faster because of the obviously the people we hang around with in our network. And it was a big reminder to me as to like how much work there's still to be done when I went to go present at the Body Power. And I remember like I roll up to check out our venue. We had our own little private venue. This was the day before, and I saw the seats. The people weren't even there yet, but I counted the seats, and I'm like, this is like great. Like, wow, we have all these people who have really like bought into this and like believe in what we're doing. And then the next day, the expo actually happened, and it was like whatever. We probably had like 300-ish people in there, and then the expo itself was like 80,000 people who were like in lines, waiting to get like the newest like pre-workout, right? So we have a long way to go, but there's this little like cluster that is quite potent and is heading in the right direction. And again, it's driven by the evidence, and I think like that was just nowhere to be found. Say, if I go back pre-2005, there was just very little of it. Right. And it was just really like, hey, I'm the big guy. I said it. That's kind of what it goes. So I love where it's heading, but there's still a lot of work to do. But this is a vital point in that movement.
Yeah, absolutely. So we like to leave the last question for the guests is, what is your definition of living a dynamic lifestyle?
We're having a debate about like who the smartest of our friends were, right? And like what I saw as like smart, and like everyone's opinion of like what smart was like very different than mine. Like to me, it's just like no, it's about who you would hang out with if the zombie apocalypse happened, right? Like who is like adaptive, who keeps up with the times, like who's not going to go extinct. And I think that's when I think of what I want to be, like being or at least observing the fitness industry for a very long time now. Like I've seen people come and go for that reason because they're not adaptive. Right. I name a lot of names to Leanna because she's been like weight training for like 4 years, I think, and she's like, who? And I'm like, exactly. So yeah, just being dynamic, keeping up with the times. Like, don't be a fucking dodo. Right. You know. Yeah. Right. You want to be the cockroach. That's who you want to be. I like it. Like Bruce Lee said, "Be water, be the cockroach."
Hell yeah, that's a good quote. All right, man. So, where can our audience and our listeners, go to follow your work and keep up with what you're doing?
So we have the Team 3D Muscle Journey YouTube, which we have our own podcast now,
which is awesome.
It's been going. Yeah. Those have been a lot of fun. They've been kind of it's like hangouts. Like
they are
kind
fun,
of
right?
This, yeah, it's like you forget that. Oh, we're doing something formal. That's right. Yeah. So that's been big, and I think people should check that out. Yeah. We have all our coaches on the Instagram now, which I like it because it kind of gives you a little personal window into like their lives and how they're people too, and how we're all a little different. But
and now they added the video.
They did.
Dude, and finally got Eric Helms on Instagram. That was probably so hard, huh? Hopefully he doesn't hear this.
But now he got good at it. Now he understands Instagram. Yeah, it's one of those things. Yeah. Well, you know how like parents are on Facebook when they'll like 80 of your friends' pictures, and you're like, that's like, let me tell you why that's not. We had a few of those moments, but we hooked him up, and like ever since there, after he had like the mom likes 80 of your friends' wedding pictures, like he's just been flying, and like he understands
the value
that.
Of it,
so
right?
yeah, Eric's a cockroach.
Yeah, gotta get him on Snapchat next, man.
Yeah. He'll probably be 2 years from now.
Yeah, right. Cool, man. So we'll plug all that stuff for you guys in the show notes. So just before you leave, man, I just want to personally acknowledge you, and I know this is coming from Hermano. So, thank you so much for everything that you do for the fitness industry, man. We've looked up to you for a long time now, and I know we've met in person a couple of times and even trained together over in Sacramento one time, and that was a big moment when you met up with us, man. You didn't have to do that. You took time out of your day to do that, and we really appreciate that. So just thanks for everything you guys are doing. Even Team 3DMJ, you guys are all awesome. You guys are bridging like the gap between science and application, making a huge difference. So I just want to acknowledge you, man, and say thanks so much.
Yeah, and agree 100%, man. Like Chris said, when you came to train with us, I mean, you were so authentic, man. Like I just love that about you. I like being authentic with people, and your integrity speaks for itself. Your work ethic, man, and shit. Best of luck to your prep coming up next year, man. I mean, fucking crush that shit.
Thank you, guys. No, I appreciate that, and same to you guys. Seeing you guys develop over the years, into like now leaders like within our community. That just kind of goes to show you, like with the right mindset, like you can do things that like you never would have imagined.
Right.
And I'm be sure for you guys saw what you guys are doing like right now 10 years ago. Yeah, no freaking way. But here we are.
Exactly.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
All right, man. So we'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of your day. And again, thanks so much. And just keep up the good work.
Cool. All right, man.
Okay, man. Well, it's good talking to you, dude. If you're in
Thank
LA,
you.
let us know.
For sure, dude. I definitely will be at least once this year.
Okay.
All right,
Alberto. Take it easy, man.
Thanks, guys, for tuning in to our video. We really, really appreciate it. And before you guys go, make sure to subscribe below to our newsletter so you guys can get our free and new book, The 4 Pillars of Becoming Dynamic Within Fitness.